Hi, this is Andrew Bush, and this is your Bush video blog update for Friday, May 31st. I'm looking south on over Millennium Park in Chicago, and we're waiting a fairly large storm to roll in here, so it's kind of brutal. And you wonder if the markets are waiting for that same storm. And that's what we're going to find out a little bit next week. Clearly, the market's intensely focused on each piece of economic data, and next week we're going to get a slew of economic data on the United States. Again, to remind everybody, we're trying to figure out if the Fed is going to engage in quantitative easing or continue to engage in quantitative easing, or if they're going to taper off. And that tapering could begin as early as September, and I think that's when it will begin. But next week, we're going to get a lot of data. We're going to get the ISM service and manufacturing, and we're also going to get the ADP data. And finally, we're going to get on Friday the non-farm payroll data. Each piece will build up until Friday, and we'll see how each piece fits. Watch the employment numbers on the ISM service and manufacturing data in the United States. Those will be key to setting up for Friday, as well as the ADP number. Next week also, we get 3 central bank meetings. The first one is the RBA on Tuesday, and then we get the Bank of England and the ECB on Thursday. None of these are expected to act or cut rates or actually even provide additional stimulus measures through quantitative easing. Somewhat of a status quo. The only thing I would look for is the ECB, whether or not they come up with a lending scheme. That's what the market's pricing at a little bit right now, and we'll see if they do anything. Clearly, last week the unemployment numbers were just horrific, and that's really why we're going to see the ECB down the road. They're going to have to do additional measures to help the economy because things are just so bad in Europe right now, and I just don't see a positive way out for them. Unless we get the European Central Bank to act and to, of course, engage in quantitative easing at some point. So for the trade for this week, I got smoked the last couple of weeks on these currency trades. Again, it's key to have tight stops, but I think I'm done banging my head against the wall, and let's just trade this range that the euro's been in. So I want to sell at 130.20. I want to leave a stop above last week's high at 130.90, and leave a profit 200 points lower, 3 times the stop loss, down around 128.10. So let's keep the stops tight because the market's trading in a range, so we want to sell the top end of the range and see if we can pick up the bottom end. The key for this trade, and really for the markets moving forward, is whether or not the U.S. gets consistent economic data that's better than expected, that will force the market to start to think about the Fed backing away from quantitative easing. And that's it for me, Andy Bush. Have a great weekend, and I hope you enjoy some great weather, and hopefully not too wet like it is in Chicago. Talk to you next week.